Fellow intrepid travelers and wannabe travelers, today is April 17, 2021. It's 8:11 in the morning. I just got done with my hike. It was an incredible hike. But what I'm doing now, before I tell you about the hike, I'm making myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast. And the reason is, by the way, you can see I'm in Zeus, my camper, and I am looking out at the countryside. Now, it looks like this is pasture land or kind of a savanna-ish look. You can see the wind is blowing. It's 37 degrees outside and here, inside here, but I've got my thermals on, so I'm pretty comfortable. My fingertips are cold, but that's all. And so I decided I was not going to do coffee and make myself a hot meal this morning. I'm going to do my peanut butter and jelly. And I'm doing my peanut butter and jelly in honor of the 5-day stretch on my bike trip out in the middle of nowhere. It even mentions along the roadway that there is a 100-mile stretch with no services, and I'm sure it was longer than that back in 1981, 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And this is what I had. I had a loaf of bread on my bike. I had PB&J. I had the jelly, or the jam, and I had the peanut butter. And that's essentially what I existed on for about 5 days, and no showers and all that stuff. So I'm kind of in the same boat right now, except I have Zeus, my trusty steed, to depend on. So I'm going to make myself, and so I only subsisted on PB&J for a while just to keep myself full, and that was fine. It worked. So what I'm going to do is commemorate that event 40 years ago by making myself another, see, I can't even get the jelly open, another PB&J. And when you do a PB&J, it has to be proper. It has to be dripping thick on the jelly and a mile thick on the peanut butter. And it's got to be a real sloppy mess. Clean that off with my tongue. I couldn't find a knife. I know there's 2 of them around here somewhere, but I have lost track of them, so I'm using the end of a spoon. The spoon was from last night's meal of Campbell's Chunky, which is pretty good. It was a baked potato with cheddar and bacon bits kind. It says made with fresh and baked potatoes. And so I'm going to use that to dig out the... I did learn on my bike trip that you kind of use anything available to get something done. Whatever it is you have to do, you have to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Here, let's have the PB&J or the peanut butter is kind of tough because it's cold. It's not free-flowing smooth. It's resisting smooth. I want to resist going onto that slice of bread. Now, my hike this morning started before dawn. Pitch black outside. I had no idea what I was about to encounter, and I never do when I go on my pitch black morning hikes that I've done at Bryce and a few other places before dawn. And I know that the sun's going to come up while I'm walking. I did that over at Haystack Mountain as well too, just north of Barstow, around Cerro Gordo. And so I start out and I'm walking along this little dirt road. Now I came in from 261, about 1.5 miles, right where 261 changes to dirt road, out that way, east. And I came off about maybe 1.5 miles or 2 and came here to this really nice little turnout, which I made my campsite, my stopover, my sleeping place. And it's wonderful. It's off the road, it's not blocking anything, and it's just perfect. And so this morning when I went hiking, I decided to go the opposite way. I didn't want to go back toward 261. So I went the other way, and the road immediately narrows to this really skinny, unpassable, and I mean, when I mean unpassable, I mean 2 vehicles can't get by. It's double track. And it goes for about 0.8 of a mile, and finally you get past the scrub stuff and you come into some not very tall pine trees and stuff like that. And I took lots of pictures, so I'll be able to show that to you as well. And then you walk another 1/2 mile and it becomes kind of rocky. There's flat rocks mixed in with the dirt trail, the dirt path. And the dirt path is pretty packed mud, solid mud, which is easily drivable. And then there's patches of deep sand. And thank goodness I didn't go any farther in my truck than right here on my campsite, because I think I probably would have gotten stuck in the sand, or it would have been something similar to my needles experience in California on April 7th, a week or so back. And was it 11 days ago now? And that would have been kind of a little apprehensive on whether I might get stuck or not. So it's a good thing I stopped here.
Well, there's no sign saying 66, but it says it on the road, so there you go. Really? Well, let's have fun.
My truck is long, it's 21 to 22 feet, it's only 2-wheel drive, it's low down, it would have high centered somewhere.
Now, is this too soft to go on? That's what I want to know. Right here. Ooh, it's soft. Oh, I'm gonna get stuck. it's still too soft up ahead, I think. I may have to turn around. I almost lost it back there. I don't know why the map has to go in. Well, it's soft like this all the way up. I'm going to turn around, go back.
Anyway, past that, road twists and turns, and then you come to this opening, this amphitheater cliff that drops right off. I did not expect that. There's no indication around here when you look out and see the field out there, the grassland, there's no indication that it's going to change to rocky boulders and 200 and 300 foot drops, and maybe even more than that, maybe 1,000-foot drop. I don't know. I'm sure it's not that much. The topographic map will show me. I don't have one with me, so I can't tell you that information. And so I walked along that for probably another mile until I got to about 2.6 miles on my round trip hike, and then I turned around. I took lots of pictures along the rim, along that edge of me hiking along the boulders that were high up and right on the edge. And yes, a slip would have been death, but I was very careful. Now let me enjoy my sandwich. And after lots of pictures, I turned around and I followed my footprints back. That's one good thing about the soft sand, is that it left my footprints and I could see where I came from whenever the roads diverged. Anyway, bon appetit. From 40 years ago, almost. It would have been June of 1981. Here in the section of my trip that was 5 days long without shower or services. And I survived on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and enjoyed it. And it was hot, but it was good. And my bike path is probably about 20 miles straight that way. In fact, I can see bear's ears from here. Let me show you this again. Bear's ears. Line up the camera here. Bear's ears is right there. The two flat tops, and then just to the left then would be Natural Bridges National Monument, probably in this area. And Route 95 goes along that way, and I'll be taking that later today. But that's the way I rode my bike and survived on PB&J. So this morning is dedicated PB&J dedication to my bike trip of 40 years ago.